The Edmonton Oilers are back on home ice tonight to celebrate an incredible milestone in Edmonton Oilers history as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will officially play in game number 1000 on home ice in front of the Rogers Place faithful. All 1000 games coming in an Oilers jersey, a pregame ceremony that I'm sure will stir up emotions even in super tough guys like myself as we celebrate one of, in my opinion, the greatest to ever do it in an Oilers jersey. Oh yeah, there's a hockey game afterwards as the Oilers take on the St. Louis Blues, a rivalry game. I understand they are not in the Pacific Division, but there will be one man returning from a 15-game absence this evening. I'm curious if he had it circled on his calendar. Dylan Holloway's back in the lineup for the Blues. Broberg will be in the lineup. The only time I will allow Broberg / Holloway in the chat. Tonight's your night, so get it off if you need to. But hello, what up, and welcome to Pregaming with Bordzy, brought to you by Bet365 19+. Please play responsibly because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, where I hope you took the New England Patriots on the money line earlier this afternoon. Now, it wasn't pretty. It was downright ugly, terrible football, one of the worst games I've ever watched before. But I digress. Drake May made more plays than CJ Stroud, that was some dreadful football that was played out there earlier this afternoon but you've heard me say it before. At the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. And the New England Patriots were back off to the AFC title game, back like we never even left. I'm absolutely buzzing right now. Brett convinced me to pour a beer in which I put in my free ads. Shout out Popeyes, my Nuge. The dishwasher's done a number to my Nuge cup, but Waz, I'm feeling good right now, brother. Give me a vibe check for you.
Well,
no, you're not a bad guy. Go Josh Dobbs.
Well, when you think of the beautiful game of football, you think of New England, you think the Patriots, iconic franchise. They are the sport of football. I'm very happy for you. Josh Dobbs, he played a fantastic. I don't know what role he had in today's game. I didn't watch the game. I took a little bit of a nap, but we are also celebrating a big night. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 1K. We've been waiting for this night for a long time, and unfortunately, we got some opposing friends on the other side, and Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, who I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing their names and what could have been, what should have been. Let's move on it. Move away from it.
You think I'm sick of hearing it? I mean, it's wild. It still comes up probably, I'd say in the chat at least once an episode on Oilers Nation every day. When I'm producing, I got my eye on that thing, and but yeah, excellent sports night this Sunday. We obviously got the Pats earlier. We got the Bears and LA Rams playing right now. Producer Brett, I know he is sweating behind the camera right now. And then we're celebrating Nuge 1000, second half of a back-to-back. The Oilers looking to make it a 4-point weekend. So let's buckle up. Drink them if you got them. Smoke them if you got them. This is what Sunday Fun Day is all about, baby. But first things first, let's get caught up into the chat. We got Austin in here, of course. Says, fire up this fucking band, baby. Congrats, Nuge, on 1000. It feels like yesterday we drafted you. As fans, we owe you everything. It's a cup, yeah, because hope will never die. Keep Nuge forever. And if you saw online, Nuge, the personalized signed, they kept me, one of one that he sent to Bag Milk. It's truly a thing of beauty. Look at this thing. We already have the awesome photo of, I think it's Nuge on his bachelor party with some of the guys, and they're all wearing the Keep Nuge Forever shirts. And now we've got this. Nuge, if you can't tell, we're going to be talking a lot about RNH today on Pregaming, and why would we not? It's a time for celebration. Aiden, also a time for celebration, said Bordzy is going to be buzzing. That's right. For more reasons than one. Southpaw's in with a simple Nuge. Did you see the video of the Oilers coming in today and everyone giving their best Nuge?
I actually did not. I just saw the sweaters, though.
Oh, yeah. I guess, well, right there. Pull them up.
Yeah.
We got to see this. Shout out. I think it was Gene Principe who just tweeted them out. They're a thing of beauty. Look at Chris Knobloch's smile in this photo. It looks like a first day of school type photo. He's happy to have it. Look at all those beautiful photos of Nuge throughout the years. And then on the back, there's also 100 games played, 500 games played, and now 1000. The Oilers, they know how to do it right. They're one of the best organizations in the entire NHL. We saw the shirts made for Leon Draisaitl with in the mouth. Nuge doesn't really strike me as a dart guy. Who knows? But either way, I'll take these shirts there.
I could see him having a dart at the racetrack, you know?
Ooh, that's right. Brett, maybe you can help me out in the chat. What's the name of Nuge's horse? Because also, shout out that horse. Doing great stuff. Oilers Blue said, I still can't stand up for more than a minute without having a coughing fit and seeing fuzzies. Might need to get that checked out. Hope you feel better. So here we go. Let's go RNH 1000, baby. Electronic Jordan with a simple Drake May on to Denver. David said Denver is going to smoke him with a backup quarterback in Jarrett Stidham, who used to play for the New England Patriots. Josh McDaniels was the OC with Stidham. We know whatever tricks he's got, even if he's got that many. I'm not totally out on Stidham. I think he was going to be a good quarterback, but whatever. Lance Kane said we should draft that new Hopkins kid from the Red Deer Rebels. Absolutely. We also got a couple cup years in here. Was give me one.
Cup yeah.
Thank you very much. Happy Nuge Day. Happy Nuge Day. And then Lance said the Bears are looking rough, Bread. So yeah, feel for that one. Also, you see him up top. We got the voicemail line active once again. If there's any beautiful words you want to say about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins pregame, postgame, let it rip in there. We got intern Tristan working from home this evening, working on a Sunday. He's getting the full experience. Greta Saturday night, Sunday back at home, and it's going to be a good one this evening. First things first, want to mention the Nation Vacation coming up March 2026, going to be an unbelievable time out in Sin City. There you see it on your screen, nationgear.ca. You can save your spot today with just a 20% deposit. I know 4 spots recently flew off the shelves, so numbers are dwindling down. And with that 20% deposit deal, come on now. If you're feeling like you might have some FOMO when we're out in Sin City in March, which you will if you do not come on this trip. Then you might as well throw down your deposit. What's the thing you're most excited to do in Vegas, and why is it going to Chris Angel Mind Freak with me?
Honestly, I haven't considered that yet, but maybe taking a little bit more time on the strip, exploring a little bit more, checking out some of those legendary casino spots. Also, I heard that you could win your money back if you go to the craps table with me.
I've also heard that rumor before. There's a couple rumors we recently
apparently I'm that bad at craps that you're going to end up winning your money back if you're the same table with me.
Waz is a very fun guy to gamble with, I will say. Waz, you have that childlike innocence about you. Like when we were playing the plastic ponies, even when you're just playing a slot machine, it's just fancy lights.
there was a Lord of the Rings game at the Circa, and I won some shekels there. That was fun.
Ooh, I also like that you used the term shekels right there. That's a thing of beauty. But as for tonight, we kick off this evening's show, much like we will this evening at Rogers Place, in celebration of one Ryan Nugent-Hopkins playing in his 1000th NHL game, all in an Edmonton Oilers jersey. First overall pick back in 2011. You know him. You love him. There you see it. His career stats. We've had this date circled ever since the Nuge was banged up earlier this year, and we had to audible to when game 1000 would be. Everything so far has gone according to plan. Tonight, a home game. The Oilers kicking off a massive homestand for here in the rest of January, and we kick it off celebrating one Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. There's so many stories, so many memories. I always have to take that cup or not. I believe that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins should have his number retired up in the Oilers rafters. I am of the Nuge generation where I've seen him through everything. I grew up with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's actually only 2 years older than me, but the fact that he was playing at such an early age, he's been a part of our lives for damn it forever. And what we know about him, we love him. First overall pick, jack of all trades kind of guy. He can play on the power play, PK, center, wing. The line I always use, you're down a goal at the end of the game, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is on the ice. You're up a goal at the end of the game, well, no shit, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is on the ice in that situation. He's a winning hockey player. The fact that he has been around with this team through thick and thin You talk about the dark days, the decade of darkness. He has seen it all, and he's risen from the ashes to Cup Finals appearances. And damn it, we're not done yet with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Still got plenty of years remaining. I believe he's still only 32 years young. I'm going to say, if you saw the post the Oilers put out on social media, just a carousel of Nuge from year 1 to I believe this is year 15, he hasn't aged a lick. There's nothing about him. He has a slight more amount of facial hair. We had Ryan Jones on ONE on Friday. He said he shouldn't even attempt to be growing facial hair. We could do 60 straight minutes on how much we love Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He is the only jersey I wear out anymore these days. Might also have to do something with the fact I've gotten fatter and my Connor McDavid jersey is a little bit tighter on me, but the Nuge is huge. You think of all the things he's brought us, death taxes, Nuge, low blocker, we made it here to game 1000. I'm going to be emotional during that pregame ceremony when he gets his silver stick. Nuge, we love you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy journey, 1,000 games since, October 9th, 2011, I believe was his first NHL game against the Pittsburgh Penguins where he got his first NHL goal. And it's crazy. I think he was going up against, Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in that game. That's quite a way to introduce yourself to the NHL, right? And there was a lot of dark days, especially in those first 5 years in the NHL before Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl really showed up. And you and I, we kind of grew up in that little era with Jordan Eberle and Taylor Hall, and you would think they would be the ones taking us to the promised land with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but he's been a part of so many different teams now. And I like this quote that he had in his interview with Jason Gregor talking about those dark days. To be honest, it was really frustrating at times, but to be on the other side of it, it has now been very rewarding and almost made the hard times worth it, which is crazy to think considering how brutal those teams were.
Yeah, Mr. Burns, he's the break glass in case of emergency player, which is literally evident right now in this back-to-back. Leon Draisaitl takes a leave of absence. Oh, don't worry. Let's put Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the second line, where last night they tore it up in that hockey game. The big Bingus, love that name, said Nuge is the glue that holds this team together. And then Mr. Burns again, I'm not an emotional person. This one gets you right in the feels. I will 100% cry when he finally lifts the cup. And we, shout out intern Tristan, brought in some unbelievable moments throughout it. So Brett, let's roll through them here. I believe we have Nuge's first NHL hat trick, which, if you remember, came so early in his NHL career. It was one of our Jeopardy answers off the dome. I want to say it was 4 games into Nuge's NHL career. Battle, can you fact check me on that one? But here you see it against the Vancouver Canucks. Roberto Luongo, was he the captain at the time? I'm curious. I'd be interested to know that.
I know there was a lot of controversy around Luongo having the C around the time.
Yeah, I mean, seems pretty silly in hindsight of why you would make your goaltender the captain of your hockey team. But this ain't about Roberto Luongo.
Well,
this is about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. We had that. And then I believe we have the 100-point moment. Throw them in the chat. What is your favorite Nuge moment? Or if you can't decide, maybe your Mount Rushmore of Nuge moments. This is 100 points in a season. What a year it was for the Nuge. Hit the 30-goal mark. There you see Zach Hyman digging the puck out of the back of the net. Just feels different when it's the Nuge. It's a guy that's, I mean, in many markets you think, and I think Ryan Jones made this point as well. Brett, give me Nuge beating the shit out of Justin Hall here as well. We need to get a look at that one. But talk about Nuge, and maybe you could call him an unsung hero of the Edmonton Oilers. But in this Edmonton fan base, where I would say the hockey education is pretty high, the people have appreciated Nuge ever since he's been in an Oilers sweater. And I appreciate this highlight. I watched this 50 times over earlier this morning. This is what got me hyped for the New England Patriots game earlier this afternoon. I was ready to fight CJ Stroud if I had to. Love this one from Nuge. There's obviously the Monahan fight, but this one, he just beats the shit out of Justin Hall right here. That first uppercut he delivers stuns the shit out of Hall, and then from there, it was lights out. And then we had one more beautiful memory, and I think this is just the perfect picture to what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is. It also came against the St. Louis Blues at home not that long ago. Late in the game, tie game, third period, Robert Thomas on a breakaway, and the Nuge comes down with the back check to make a game-saving play. The type of stuff that doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, right? But if you watch Oilers hockey, you know how much this guy means to the Edmonton Oilers. Just going through all this once again, could have just done 60 minutes of Nuge highlights. It was tough to decide which ones. Well, I'm curious, what would be your number one Ryan Nugent-Hopkins memory in his 999 career games in an Oilers sweater?
Honestly, I'm just gonna go. It's pretty basic. I'll say his first NHL goal, his introduction to the NHL. I know there was a lot of hype around him at the time, and you talk about his hat trick around that time as well. I believe there was a 9-game, and his first 9 NHL games were absolutely hot. And TSN ends up doing a feature on him where Ray Ferraro was like, the scouts kind of compare you to Wayne Gretzky. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's going to be something. And then there was a stat projection that at 18 years old, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was on pace to score 88 points in his NHL, rookie season. Obviously, didn't happen. I believe there was an injury, and injuries have kind of held him back. And when he was coming into the league, he was kind of more viewed as an offensive playmaker, someone who's going to put up 100 points more than one time. That hasn't been the case, but he realized, I have the offensive capabilities, but it's the defense that's really going to carry me throughout my NHL career, and that's what he really focused on.
A guy who can play in every single situation. He is a coach's dream. You've heard McDavid joke about it, Draisaitl joke about it, that Nuge is every coach's favorite because he's just an emergency safety blanket. He is the definition of insurance, and just love you, Nuge. Terry says, Nuge, and then fight. Your new stepdad said fight against Sean Monahan for him. Dre, that one against Justin Hull. Just an unbelievable scrap from the Nuge. There's nothing better. We got one earlier on this season against Neil Pignon, but it wasn't nearly as good as those ones. But the Nuge, he'll still kick your ass if need be. Aiden said game 4 against Calgary. The big bingus again. That back check is it for me. It's actually nuts. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, unbelievable. He'll become the first player, right, to play 1,000 consecutive games in an Oilers jersey, because Kevin Lowe did technically play 1,037 games in an Oilers sweater, but he left at game 966 in his career. So tonight, it just feels like it means a lot for Oilers fans. And I can only speak for my generation specifically, but I feel like it means a lot to everybody from every age group, because we have watched this guy grow up. And maybe with Nuge, right, he's never been the best player on the Edmonton Oilers. He has just always been a very good player that helps them win and is the most consistent guy, I'd argue, on the Edmonton Oilers. He is now the 417th player to play 1,000 games in the NHL. I believe he is currently 208th all-time in NHL points. He's got 782 points. And you kind of touched on it, Jason Gregor. We've had Nuge Week all week on OilersNation.com. We had Ryan Jones on ONE. Tomorrow, we're going to have Devin Dubnyk on Monday to just gush about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and what a teammate he has been. But Gregor had an awesome one-on-one article where he interviewed the Nuge, just discussing what it's meant to play 1,000 games. It was an unbelievable read, got me jacked up for tonight, and once again might have me feeling a little bit emotional tonight when we celebrate this one. But as for the actual game, this is a pregame show at the end of the day. They're taking on a St. Louis Blues team that currently sits out of a playoff spot, but the Oilers on the second half of a back-to-back. Last night, you're getting the Bordzy and Waz show all weekend long, because you were with me for pre and post last night at Greta, and you'll be with me tonight all night long. Last night, those are the games you dream about, brother. The Oilers completely brought belt to ass on the Vancouver Canucks, making it a double-digit losing streak, 10 games for the Canucks. The Oilers score 6 goals in the second period. They would win 6-0. Tristan Jarry was awesome, stopping all 31 shots that came his way, moving to 4-0-1 in an Edmonton Oilers jersey. He's also yet to play a game at Rogers Place, which is a little bit nuts. But was the story coming in last night was no Leon Draisaitl, taking a leave of absence from the team, stepping away to deal with a family member's illness. Leon, we love you. Draisaitl family, we love you. There we see it on the screen, the numbers. Obviously, the Edmonton Oilers were going to miss the production that he brings into the lineup, but really, dude, last night, they didn't need him. They barely even needed Connor McDavid. McDavid only had 1 secondary assist, and the Oilers put up 6 goals, 2 from Jack Roslovic, 2 from Kasperi, Cheeks, Kapanen, Hyman got in on the action. The Oilers was just dominant as they get last night. And obviously, this Canucks team, they are losing games. They are tanking, and they are doing a damn good job of it. But was thoroughly last night. No notes on the Edmonton Oilers. They were unbelievable, took care of business in the second, and we could have started the post-game show after 40 minutes of puck last night.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Jack Michaels had a statistic that was like the quickest 6 goals the Edmonton Oilers scored since 1996. I don't know how you find that stat, but that is insane. And of course, you have the naysayers who kind of try to bring up the excuses. Oh, well, it's the Canucks. It's an it's an ECHL team, but they still put up 16 high danger chances on Tristan Jarry. It wasn't necessarily an easy game defensively or for the goalie. So I'm just glad the Edmonton Oilers kind of almost used it as a training session to run the lines without Leon Draisaitl and see what they can do. And hopefully they can carry that momentum into this game against the St. Louis Blues because, yeah, the Canucks are not great, but the Edmonton Oilers still had to find a way to win that game comfortably, which they did. And knowing the Edmonton Oilers, they have a history of sometimes losing those kind of games where it's like you need to like beat their ass. And sometimes it's the opposite. They end up choking the lead away and losing, and it becomes a whole other storyline. That wasn't the case. It was just a very professional victory from the Edmonton Oilers. And like I said, you want to carry that momentum over into this one.
There was a lot to like last night. Trent Frederick promoted to the top 6 on the second line, and he made waves. I got some numbers for you a little bit later on, but Freddie, we've been asking for some improvement in his play, and we got it last night. He played 14 minutes last night in that hockey game, which is by a mile more than he has been used to playing recently. Dre also said, of course, the only forwards we didn't get a point were Manji, Fred, and Janmark. Don't do that in a 6-0 game. We're not doing that in a 6-0 game. We don't shit on any for not getting points. We got 2 in the standings. Then we get back into Edmonton to celebrate the Nuge. Dre also said that Stein is fucking massive. LOL.
Thank you.
Can I see it one more time here, please?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Is that even your biggest sign that?
It is. If I'm being honest, I'm a bit of a nerd, and it's a nerd night because there's a new Game of Thrones show coming out, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Looking forward to watching that. If I wasn't on this show, I'd probably be watching Return of the King extended editions in theaters right now, which is a 4-hour film. Crazy. I wish I could be there, but this takes precedence.
Nerd. Excellent point, Brett. I appreciate that very much. Also, clap it up for Waz for not watching a movie that came out 15, 20 years ago on Sunday. Ooh,
it's back in theaters, man. 25-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, I know that means a lot to you, but Ryan Nugent-Hopkins means a lot to the Oilers as well. And with tonight being the second half of a back-to-back, obviously Tristan Jarry, perfect last night, stopping 31 of 31. It's going to be Connor Ingram tonight, taking on Jordan Binnington. But Ingram, he's got the chance here. So Jarry, I mean, talk about having a healthy goaltending competition right now. It's now time for Connor Ingram to hold serve here against Jarry. And the last performance from Ingram, he was unbelievable. He may have gotten the L at the end of the day against the New York Islanders, but he allowed 1 goal on the power play. There you see the numbers on the screen. He stopped 17 of 18, which you might say, Bordzy, he wasn't tested all that frequently. No. If you watch that game, you know that there were high-quality chances. There you see it, 1.29 goals saved above expected on the evening. And for Ingram, that was his 8th start in an Oilers jersey. I argue 7 of the 8 have been quality starts. He now has a 2.49 goals against with a .907 save percentage on the season. And we kind of talked about it last night on After Dark about what a turnaround this has been in the crease for the Edmonton Oilers. Some of the numbers are awesome. Brett, do we have the tweet here from Bob Stauffer? I can't remember if I brought it in. There you see it on your screen. Since acquiring Jarry on the 12th, the Oilers, they're 7th in the NHL in goals against, a 2.78. Jarry, 4-0-1 with a .907. Ingram, 4-3-1 with a .907. And even Calvin Pickard, hey, we might forget he's still on the active roster for the Oilers. He's 2-3-0, has a .901. Look at the turnaround. It has been here since December 12th for these Edmonton Oilers. And tonight, Connor Ingram, who, dude, I just have so much confidence in the Oilers crease right now. This is feeling like a whole different emotion that I have neglected over the last, since Jack Campbell may have stepped into our lives, into the Edmonton Oilers locker room. And tonight, it will be Connor Ingram. We'll talk about Jordan Binnington in just 1 second because, our guys got definite advantage in the numbers this year. But what a healthy competition it is between the pipes for the Oilers and Connor Ingram. He gets his crack at it this evening.
Yeah, well, I mean, this time a year ago, we were kind of sugarcoating Stuart Skinner's performances and always trying to find a way to make him look a little better than he was. But this is a great situation for the Edmonton Oilers. Calvin Pickard, it's been 9 games since he last played a game. I think the writing is on the wall for him. Connor Ingram has been steady. I think there's only been 1 game where I was like, okay, Ingram, you're not looking good, and that was a New Year's Eve game. You brought up the Islanders game. Yeah, sure, he only faced 18 shots, but there was a reason why when I was clipping for social media, I was only picking up Ingram highlights because that was the only thing that was happening because he was making great saves, right? So, Connor Ingram, he's caught me by surprise. He's been a breath of fresh air between the pipes. Him and Jarry have looked like to be a solid tandem, and I'm excited to see what he can do going forward. Mentally, he seems like he's in a good spot, and he's been getting a lot of, support and love from the fan base, which, I think the fan base also just needed a kind of a change of scenery between the pipes, just someone new to root for, and it's felt great.
We needed the refresh. We saw the Colorado Avalanche do it just down the road there, and we needed to do the same and follow suit. And you kind of mentioned it there. I spent a lot of time doing Oilers Nation After Dark, kind of covering or discussing, whose fault is it? Is it Stu? Is it this? Is it that? It's only been a small sample size here since December 12th. That isn't that long. It's a month and 6 days. But we haven't been doing that much over the last month and 6 days. Knock on wood, hoping the Oilers can keep that going tonight against a St. Louis Blues team that hasn't been a great season down there in St. Louis. 19, 21, and 8 record. They are currently 28th in the entire NHL, but they're only 6 points back of the last wildcard spot in the Western Conference, so they're not completely out of it by any means. This Blues team right now, coming into today, ranks 32nd in the NHL in goals for, 27th in goals against. Brett, I think we have the head-to-head numbers here if you want to pull them up on the screen. Feels good. Look at that. All yellow on the Edmonton Oilers side. It's not been a great year down there in St. Louis. And when you kind of break it down, dead last in goals for. Their leading point getter on the season is Robert Thomas, who has 33 points. Their leading goal scorer on the season, Jake Neighbors, has a whopping 12 goals on the season. Their starting goaltender, Jordan Binnington, has an .871 save percentage. So you kind of see right there what the issues have been for the St. Louis Blues team. However, coming into tonight, they have actually won each of their last 2 games against some top-tier competition. They shut out the Carolina Hurricanes 3-0, and then they snapped the Tampa Bay Lightning's 11-game winning streak with a 3-2 shootout victory. Now, for both of those games, I will note Joel Hofer was in the crease for the St. Louis Blues. His numbers are so much better than Jordan Binnington's this season. But tonight, the Oilers, they're going to get Jordan Binnington in the crease down at Rogers Place. So Waz, not been a great year statistically. All those numbers I just read off there, but they are hot. They did just beat the Hurricanes. They did just beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. That was a 2-game homestand for them. Obviously, tonight, they travel into Edmonton. Wazinho, thoughts on the St. Louis Blues? We'll talk about those 2 names that we now have a rivalry with in just a second. But overall, the Blues, what do you think of the matchup?
It's an interesting matchup because when you look throughout their lineup, they have some decent forwards you think can produce a little bit more, like Pavel Buchnevich. They've got Jake Neighbors, obviously Dylan Holloway's coming back in the lineup, Jordan Kyrou. Actually, other than that, it's a little sparse. But as I'm looking through their last 10 games, goals have been kind of hard to come by from them. I mean, Jordan Kyrou only has 4 assists in his last 10 games. Shout out dailyfaceoff.com. I actually didn't know we had this feature that you can just check the last 10 games for every player on the lineup. So DFO, great website. And then, also Jordan Binnington, 4.29 goals against average in his last 10 games. Not great. So it's I can see them getting like 2 goals tonight. The Blues, I don't think it's gonna be a shutout for the Edmonton Oilers like last night, but it's they've got some interesting names. I mean, former Oiler, Nick Bukestad's also coming back, so
Jugs,
big Jugs, miss him, and Nathan Walker, wasn't he a former Oiler? for like a game or two, a cup of coffee.
He's the Australian fellow,
Yeah,
I do believe.
yeah.
Yeah, shout out to him. Jeremy Lebrecht's he said, I'm late to the stream, but I have to say I love Nuge, and I hope he plays a million more games for the Oily boys. Hey, you didn't miss anything. We'll continue to talk about Nuge. The first 20, it's all about Nuge. Tonight is all about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Also, this made me laugh very much. Lance said, we need to get Waz a poster or something. Yeah, Waz, your background there, it's kind of looks like an insane asylum. Kind of looks like you just got let out of your straitjacket just for the 60 minutes to do the stream. This is your blood flow hour that you're allowed to move. But hey, thank you for joining me at least.
Hey man, I was before the new year. I decided to clean my walls. So
attaboy.
Kind of went through a bit of a refresh in the room. So why not?
Shout out Waz. Hey, we'll leave it at that. Shout out Waz. That's right, buddy. That's right. As for the Blues game, it wouldn't be talking about the St. Louis Blues and the Oilers if we didn't mention Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. I said it off the hop. This is the only time I will allow Holloway and Broberg discussion in the chat, because other than tonight, I don't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah.
But both of them will make their return to Rogers Place this evening. Dylan Holloway actually makes his return to the lineup. He missed the last 15 games with an ankle injury, but is expected to return to the top 6 this evening for the Blues. There you get a look at both of their numbers this season. Holloway, down year especially, he's only got 8, 9, 17. And then Philip Broberg, he just inked a fresh new deal, 6 years, $48 million. It's only 15 points, but he's averaging 22.51 time on ice per night. I think we all know the career, the future that Philip Broberg is probably going to have in the NHL. It always hurts to see these guys doing well, even though Dylan Holloway, his point per game numbers, goals per game numbers are definitely down from last season. I think everybody's is on the St. Louis Blues. At the end of the day, it hurts to see them out there and hurts to see them doing well. But I always say this. At the end of the day, they chose to leave the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
I understand what happened and that maybe not the best long-term play from Oilers management, but at the end of the day, they had to put their name to paper at some point and choose to leave the Oilers. This is just what I tell myself to sell myself, that this is easier of a pill to swallow, because obviously we would love to have two future, maybe not stars, future very good players in the NHL for a long time. We've obviously talked about the youth movement in Edmonton for a very long time, and these guys now entering the prime of their NHL careers. It's tough. It is what it is, Waz. They are now, though, thoroughly, in my opinion, they're the enemy. You're either with us or you're against us, and it's as simple as that for me, Waz.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, there was a little bit of Waz juju there with these two, right? Obviously, I took a picture with them, and they're both out of the lineup. And ended up in different organizations. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. I took a photo with Broberg, McLeod, Skinner, and Holloway and Lloydminster back in 2000. I believe this is 22. There was an event there. I took a picture with all 4 of them, and they're all on different teams now. So, I don't know, man. Take a picture of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins once. But that was actually 10 years ago. It doesn't matter anymore, obviously. But interestingly enough, Philip Broberg, I remember the conversation around him maybe early in his professional career, like, oh, he's a bust. There was a lot of talk that this guy's not going to be anything. So to see him to kind of have his NHL career turn around and get these big contracts, like, good for him. I have no ill will against these guys. Dylan Holloway is, he scored a beautiful goal against the Vancouver Canucks in the 2024 playoffs. So he left me with some good memories. Phil Broberg, like, it's a shame what happened. We know what happened. It's in the past. We got to move on. Good for them. But right now, I'm looking forward to what the Edmonton Oilers can probably do in the Stanley Cup playoffs. St. Louis Blues, are they even going to make the postseason? Who knows?
At this point, once again, it's always too early to say, but I wouldn't bet on it. Once again, 28th in the NHL. But the way it goes this year is that they are only 6 points out of the last wildcard spot in the Western Conference. Let's go now. Need to know information courtesy of Will Huck Beef Jerky. Only the finest tasting meat products earn the Will Huck name. Made from 100% Alberta beef, their jerky is aged, seasoned, smoked, and marinated to savory perfection. They gladly fill orders of any size, and you You can find their jerky, sausage, and other products out of their Leduc location. And for more information, head on over to WillHawkBeefJerky.com. So for the Oilers, it's all about Nuge, game 1000 out there on the ice tonight. And if you just saw it online, check it on Twitter. All the Oilers out for the pregame skate wearing number 93 with their Nugent-Hopkins name bars. It's beautiful. I'm gushing. I'm blushing. I'm excited to see it. It's just a thing of beauty. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, bet him anytime goal, bet him anytime point, bet him everything. I got to think if the Oilers maybe power play gets going, maybe they get a lead in this one. Maybe they're feeding the Nuge, feeding our boy Nuggy out there this evening. As for the Oilers, they have won 3 straight games at home against the St. Louis Blues and are actually 1-1 against St. Louis in their last 6 games anywhere, anytime, any place. And I guess this doesn't directly evolve tonight's pregame show, but there was a trade made earlier today between 2 Pacific Division teams as Rasmus Ratboy Anderson is finally on his way out. He heads over to the Vegas Golden Knights. So the trade is Anderson to Vegas, 50% retained for Zach Whitecloud, a 2027 first, a 2027 second, could become a first if Vegas wins the cup this year, and then Abram Weeb and a defenseman to be named at a later date, I believe. For me, I think that's a pretty damn good return here for the Calgary Flames. I thought for sure you're going to get a first-round pick in return, and then that other one that could be a second or a first. I hate what I'm about to say, but I think Craig Conroy is doing a bang-up job at rebuilding this Calgary Flames roster. He's tanking well. The Canucks probably need to follow suit and do a very similar thing, but we hate, and I mean hate, Rasmus Anderson at Oilers Nation, and now we hate him against the team that we wouldn't even play in the NHL playoffs. Now he's joining, I'd say, the team that most likely the Oilers could see in the second round of the NHL playoffs. A, what did you think of the deal and the return? And B, how interesting of a layer does this add to the Oilers Golden Knights rivalry?
Well, I'm not surprised it's Vegas, but I'm also not happy it's Vegas. And Vegas, they seemingly have a history of acquiring top players, big trade targets around the deadline every year. I saw a tweet that kind of listed all the players they've acquired over the years. You're talking about Mark Stone, Alec Martinez, Jack Eichel, Thomas Hertl, Chandler Stevenson. The list goes on. And now, the Rasmus Anderson, who made it abundantly clear that he did not want to get traded to the Edmonton Oilers. I know there was a little bit of rumor talk last year or the year before that maybe the Oilers should go for Rasmus Anderson. And it kind of feels like this is the end of an era in Calgary. One of their, bigger names that was a part of that 2022 team finally gone, right? And now they can kind of finally flip the chapter and look forward to the future. And, they want to tank in Calgary. The fan base really wants to just absolutely go to zero. But I think the players still want to win. They don't want to lose every game. They have some pride to themselves. So it'll be interesting to see where the Calgary Flames end up drafting in 2026.
I hope they keep their pride, because the right thing to do is to lose every single game from here on out, because this is a year to tank in the NHL entry draft. But don't want to give them any tips and tricks. Connor Ingram, he's going to start for the Edmonton Oilers, 4-2-0 all time against the St. Louis Blues. And in all 6 appearances, he has never allowed more than 2 goals. 2 goals or less in all 6 in history against the Blues. I like that little nugget there on Ingram. As for the Blues, we said it earlier, 19-21-8 record, only 6 points back of a playoff spot, 5-5-0 in their last 10, but they have won 2 straight games over the Hurricanes and the Lightning. Tonight, they will be without a big player in their lineup in one, Robert Thomas. He was placed on IR recently. He's their leading leading point getter. He's second on the team in goals. He was put on, I think it was IR a week ago, something like that. Be reevaluated in 2 weeks. He's on my fantasy team, but I'll be real with you. Hasn't done a whole lot because St. Louis has been anemic offensively. He leads them in points. Jake Neighbors leads them in goals with 12. And only 3 guys on the Blues have double-digit goal totals. Neighbors 12, Thomas 11, Justin Falk with 11. Not Buchnevich, not Braden Shen, not Dylan Holloway. None of them have double-digit goal totals. And then Jordan Binnington, he's going to start for the Blues. Now, let's go to the Edmonton Oilers lineup, which was just confirmed. Brought to you by Oodle Noodle. Download the app today, tonight, if you will. It's a Sunday evening. We got the Bears game tonight, 7-7 right now. We got the oil coming on deck. You don't want to cook. Order some Oodle Noodle from the app. Get it delivered. And, hey, maybe add on that $2 Unreal deal where you can add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 deep fried wontons for only $2. Bert, throw it up for me. The confirmed lineup we just got from our pal Tony Brar. The top line, Vasily Podkolzin with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Bordzy got on the score sheet yesterday. Trent Frederick on the second line with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins playing that 2C role with Kasperi Cheeks Klappinen. Third line, Howard, Roslovic, Savoy. They finally had their breakout game yesterday. Uncle Roslovic with 2 goals in the game. And then the fourth line, Mangiapane, Curtis, Lazar, and 1 Matthias Janmark. Deep pairings, Ekholm with Bush, Nurse with Ty Emberson, and Jake the Snake with 1 Spencer Stastny. Now for last night, you may check the box score and see Trent Frederick, 14:01 time on ice, and say, oh, no points, 1 shot, 1 hit. What a plug there in the top 6. But oh, no. He, I thought, was really good in that hockey game. He had an expected goals for percentage of 83.13 goals. Well, he didn't get any points. We're 2-0 with him on the ice. Shots were 9-5. Scoring chances, 8-5. High danger chances, 4-1. I liked what I saw from that second line in Nuge, Kapanen, and Trent Frederick. And obviously, this Trent Frederick experiment in the top 6, it does have an expiration date on it. Leon Draisaitl will return to the Oilers lineup, and barring any injuries that come in that time frame, I'm sure Trent Frederick will be back in his rightful spot on the fourth line. But this is all you can ask a guy to do in an opportunity. Spot start yesterday, going to be in the same spot tonight. And who knows about this week? Once again, Leon, take as long as you need. Be there for your family. Do whatever you got to do. But this, even from Freddie, might even give Leon a little bit more of a leeway if he wanted to stay longer, because I thought he was awesome in that game yesterday. And for a guy that has been looking to build some confidence, looking to build anything this season, this is all you can ask in that small little sample size. Get some energy, do good things out there, and then maybe when Leon Draisaitl returns, the rightful heir to that 2C spot, that maybe Trent Frederick can earn himself some more ice time, some more minutes in other situations. But most importantly, just build some confidence. What'd you think about Freddie last night? And then kind of going forward this week, you picking up what I'm laying down? Like this is a time for Freddie to really take advantage of his opportunity.
Yeah, I thought he just kept things pretty simple. Obviously, the stats favored him against, I think there was no better time to experiment than against the Vancouver Canucks, and hopefully he can bring a little bit more of a physical element against the St. Louis Blues, because I think that's what you want to see from Trent Frederick, is just that physicality. I like to see him maybe get a little bit more to the net, see if he, I really wanted him to kind of be like Corey Perry, like a Zach Hyman, where you kind of pick up the trash in front of the net. I'm surprised he kind of hasn't tried to be more of that player, and I think when you have someone with like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he'll find you. He knows the game so well. He's so intelligent on the ice. And Kasperi Kapanen also brings a little bit of speed. And he's been having some, good run of form here, finding the back of the net. So Trent Frederick, just keeping it simple, building some confidence, and mostly building trust with Chris Knobloch, because that is hard to come by if you're not 97 or 29 or 93 or 18.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. But we saw it, 14:01 time on ice last night. It was a 6-0 blowout in the third period, but hey, baby steps, and we're seeing them right now. The other thing of note last night, Jake Walman took Leon Draisaitl's spot on the power play in that 29 shooter role on the faceoff dot. McDavid told us pregame that he was going to be ripping pucks. I took advantage of it on Bordzy's bankroll. Had the biggest win of the season for me, plus 950 last night. It's what dreams are made of last night. But Walman going to be back in that spot again. And once again, Bet365 is not adjusted. Plus 190 for 3+ shots on goal. Maybe run, don't walk over there. We'll do bankroll in just a minute. Let's quickly go to the starting goaltender report brought to you by our friends at Dog Patch. We're going to be there throughout the season. Keep it locked on the Oilers Nation socials. Unbelievable menu. I highly recommend the weekend brunch as well. But, dude, I recommend every single thing on that menu. I think I could go for a braised beef ragu. I believe that's the way that you say it. Because, oh, brother, it hits. Side focaccia as well was. That's right. Bert, throw it up for me. Tail the tape between Connor, Ingram, and one Jordan Binnington. You love to see it, baby. We got gold. We got yellow on our side. Ingram, 2.49 goals against with a 907 save percentage. And then Binnington, 3.53 with an 871 save percentage. Now, as for Connor Ingram, he's coming off a really, four reallys there, good game against the New York Islanders, where he only allowed 1 on 18 shots. He's been awesome since coming up from the recall in Bakersfield. But I want to talk about the St. Louis Blues crease right now because, what a reputation will do for a man. So we have the numbers here between Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer. My, oh my, it's not even close. Joel Hofer having a very solid season, and Binnington has just been crumbling from the get-go. We all remember the viral clip that went down recently where Binnington wasn't coming out of his net. Coach couldn't find Joel Hofer behind, not hiding it down the hallway. It's Carter Hutton explained it on DFO. There's just no spot for the goalie on the bench. But it has been a weird season in the Blues crease. And then I want to take this conversation a little bit further with Jordan Binnington, because obviously he was one of the 3 goaltenders named to Team Canada's Olympic roster. And it's an interesting discussion. You would think no man with an 871 save percentage would ever make Team Canada's roster, but it's all about what a reputation can do for a guy and how well he has played. Remember Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year in Four Nations, in that final, in the overtime period. And I'm curious to pose this question to you and the chat that I don't know. Once again, Logan Thompson should be the Team Canada starter. But my question is, if Jordan Binnington were to start Game 1 of the round robin for Team Canada at the Olympics, would you have a problem with that? Because so far for me, like if I was a coach, I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that, but as a fan, I might say he can have that crease until he proves me otherwise, right? And that he maybe just is a big game guy. Goalies are psychos to begin with. They never make sense. Goaltending is voodoo in general, but Waz, where do you kind of come out on that one? It should be Logan Thompson. I want to preface it with all this, but if it were to be Binnington, what would your reaction be?
I'd understand it just because they have trust in him, and obviously you bring up some of the games he's been involved in, and he was stellar in the Four Nations, especially in that final. He's a little bit clutch, but I feel like Logan Thompson also deserves to start that game. He's been incredibly consistent throughout the last couple seasons. I think he's been probably Canada's best goalie in the NHL, but Jordan Binnington just brings that kind of winning bravado. He seems to play very well under pressure in high intensity moments like that against some of the best players in the world, right? This is the Olympics after all we're talking about, and the Four Nations. So I wouldn't be surprised just because I think there's a lot of trust with him right now.
Yep, obviously there, and he has earned that trust throughout it. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm going to say this about Calvin Pickard a lot, and that it's a what have you done for me lately league, Jordan Binnington ain't done shit lately in the NHL. Shooter McGavin, who's just what a guy in the chat, says Team Canada selections are BS. Total favoritism. Soggy Corpse, Binner is a bummer. And then Austin, excellent spin zone here. Yet we wanted Binnington. Nah, we got Connor fucking Ingram, baby. You remember the name. Appreciate that one from Austin. Let's go now. The away lineup brought to you by the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament was coming up in less than 7 days. Next weekend, we will be out at beautiful Lake Mildred at the JPL for an unbelievable time. I'm very, very excited. I will be on Team Oilers Nation. I got to get my skates sharpened later on this week. Waz, you'll be shooting content. You and Eli, sounds like you're going on a beautiful romantic spa date, I think it was. Share with the class, please.
I don't know if it's a spa day, but there was something about snowshoeing and fondue, and I'm very curious about this activity. So I've never had fondue, and I haven't snowshoed since I was friends with Brett Holden in elementary school. So does anyone remember snowshoeing in elementary?
I had the snowshoes. I also like that you said when I was friends with Brett Holden.
Yeah,
it came out a little wrong. But I'm also just looking at the weather possibly for next weekend in Jasper, and she's looking a little chilly, -10, -19 overnight. So prepare yourself because this is going to be one of the coldest tournaments we've had in probably 3 years.
Brett, I just did the Iceman. I know my stream's ahead of you, but I did that and immediately Caleb Williams just threw a bomb, brother.
Let's go.
Let's go. The Bears.
Oh, the Bears are actually doing something?
Yes, they are. Pull it up for me here, Bert. The projected lineup tonight for the St. Louis Blues. Top line, Jake Huda Neighbors with Braden Shen and Jimmy Snuggerud. The second line, he's back. Dylan Holloway with Dalibor Dvorsky and Jordan Kyrou. Bottom six, Otto Stenberg with Jugs, Nick Bukestad, and Pavel Buchnevich, another guy that many Oilers fans wanted him to be an Oiler. Fourth line, Alexei Toropchenko with Oscar Sundqvist and Garay Mite, Nathan Walker. And your deep pairings, Philip Broberg with Colton Parayko, Tyler Tucker with Justin Falk, Cam Fowler with Logan Mailloux. So Dylan Holloway, yep, he's not having as good a season as last year. Last year, 28 goals, 37 apples, 63 points. But this year, he's only got 8, 9, 17 in 33 games. He will make his return to the lineup. Missed 15 games with an ankle injury. Be curious. I feel like everyone, love is in the air tonight. All right. We are so focused on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and giving him a proper ovation. I don't even give a shit about Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg being out there on the ice. I want all your energy focused on love and affection on the Nuge. And then, hey, if you still have energy left over to boo Holloway or boo Broberg, go nuts, do what you can. I will appreciate you going the extra mile. But there is one thing, and maybe Chad as well. It was recently, I forget who it was. Somebody left us a voicemail, and they asked Bordzy, who's your new dream deadline acquisition? You know, like come up with a name. Obviously, Liam's been tossing out Jared McCann left, right, and center, which is one that would be unbelievable. But the Kraken are committed to being a playoff team this season. Yeah. It's a little bit surprising. Still waiting for the floor to maybe fall out on that one. We often talk about trade candidates for the Edmonton Oilers, and one that comes to my mind is, I don't know how feasible, one Braden Shen. I would love to see Braden Shen become an Edmonton Oiler. I think the Oilers have lacked a consistent 3C for much of this season. I think he could easily step into that role. He's 34 years old. He's in year 6 of 8 on a $6.5 million deal. So it's only if St. Louis is willing to eat some money, retain half of it, and really fully go into this rebuild. He's 34. He doesn't have good numbers this year. 9 goals, 10 apples, 19 points in 48 games. But I believe that there is still something in there with Braden Shen. I always go back to the World Juniors. I was such a fucking Braden Shen guy when he was wearing remember they always wear like the neck guard thing at the World Juniors and dripping with swag, aura, whatever that shit Peyton always says down at the office. Braden Shen had it. I still think he's got it in there. Maybe there's a way. I mean, people have discussed Luke Shen as like that 7th defenseman for the Oilers. Screw it. Bring them both into oil country. I don't know how feasible that actually is with the $6.5 million cap hit for 2 more years after this, but it popped into my head earlier today doing my prep, and that people always ask, what's a name? Braden Shen. That's the one I'm going to roll with. That's the flag I'm going to plant down for me, Waz. What do you think of that? And then if not that, maybe tonight just give me a player to watch for the St. Louis Blues that isn't Holloway or Broberg.
Player to watch for the St. Louis Blues has always got to be Jordan Kyrou, right? He can find in the back of the net. He's pretty creative. Or Jake Neighbors. But, Braden Shen, obviously not a sexy name, but expensive name, I would say. Not bad for a 3C option. The way you're wording it makes me sound like, is this just Adam Henrique 2.0? I don't know.
It could be. I do think Braden Shen is more of your prototypical playoff player. Well, where he will beat your ass if need be. He can play with offensive skill. He can play in the bottom 6. Bert?
It is not at all like Adam Henrique. They played two totally different games. A guy in Braden Shen who can produce consistently. Adam Henrique just kind of produced for a team in Anaheim that needed a guy to produce. And again, like I was very big on Adam Henrique becoming an Oiler, but I don't think that it would end up being anything close to Henrique.
We saw the production from Adam Henrique when he was playing top line left wing on the Anaheim Ducks. Remember, he scored 24 goals that year. Maybe that's what we were thinking we were getting. What I want from Braden Shen is, hey, whatever offense you can chip in and give me, which I think he's still capable of, but it's more the other intangibles, the leadership, the physicality, the beat somebody at. We talk about sandpaper in the Oilers lineup all the time, or lack thereof, even though they still have some. Braden Shen would never hurt to have a guy like that in the lineup. Quickly now, Bordzy's bankroll. Can I go? 2 in a row, brought to you by Bet365, 19 plus. Please play responsibly, whatever the moment. Never ordinary at Bet365. Brett, the kick is good for the Chicago Bears. There we go. Shout out 10-7 for the Bears. Good, feeling good. I hope you feel like I do after that Pats W. Good money on Bet365. But tonight, for the oil and the bankroll, we are rolling with three things right here. Evan Bouchard, 1+ point. I like it. -190. He's the Bouch. The Blues penalty kill, it is in the bottom third of the NHL, and I like the Oilers to work it around in there. And I just think Bouch is the quarterback of that power play. Lots of touches. It's Nuge night. Had to get him in here for 1+ points at -210. Didn't have the balls, didn't have the cojones on me to do a Nuge anytime goal. But then I went once again. Bet365 isn't going to adjust. I'll hammer it again. Jake Wallman, 3 shots +190. I believe I did this earlier on today. Let me see what the number was when I parlayed it together was. Hey, what do you think of these 3 bets? And do you have anything cooked up on Bet365 this evening?
I don't have anything cooked up just because, I feel like they don't land, right? As well as yours did. But yeah, the Evan Bouchard one, I think, is a steal. I'm looking at all of them, especially Jake Wallman, if the Edmonton Oilers get some power play time, because he was ripping the pill the other night in Vancouver, and I really liked him in that spot, and I would love to see him get a goal.
Hell yeah. A lot of people in here. They're going for a Nuge anytime goal. Nathan, $20 on Nuge scoring first tonight. That's nice and juicy on Bet365. I like that. Reminder, we will be live on Oilers Nation After Dark right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube at the conclusion of the hockey game. I am sure there will be Nuge content galore, especially if this one ends in a W. We'll be bringing you post-game interviews, dropping your voicemails at the top of the chat right there. I want to hear from the folks. Nuge wants to hear from the folks. Should be a good one. Makes me emotional just thinking about it, Matthew. Nuge, our boy, he's all grown up, about to take part in game 1000 in the NHL. Final question I have for you, Matthew, and producer Brett, and even Tristan in the chat if you want to throw it in here. And then obviously the real people in the chat. Waz, give me a score prediction and an anytime goal scorer, brother.
Ooh, I'm going to go 5-2 Oilers. Feeling bullish. Matthias Janmark, anytime goal.
Woo! Let me scroll to see what he is for an anytime goal.
I'm liking his game recently. The offense isn't there for him, but he transports the puck kind of decently and skates well. I don't know. I like his game.
I mean, that's been the story of Matthias Janmark for his entire Oilers career. There's nothing new. He doesn't produce a lot, but hey, I love it. Plus 850 on Bet365. He recently had a breakaway. Didn't even get a shot off on that breakaway. Producer Brett, what about you? What do you like?
5-1 Oil, Nuge goal, and a Chicago Bears victory. Bear down, the Bears.
The Bears. Oh, just having a little heart attack here. Don't worry. Go Bears. The Bears for me. Let's go. St. Louis means a little bit more. I'm going to go 5-2 for the Edmonton Oilers with Zachary Martin-Hyman. Stay hot, kid. He's been scoring goals left, right, and center. I think 15 in his last 19 games. He's been unbelievable. Put this man on Team Canada. That will do it for us for pre-gaming this evening. Once again, live for ONAD after the game. I'm feeling good. Drake May gets second career playoff dub. The Pats are back, baby, in the AFC Championship game, and we are about to embark on a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins celebration that could mean more than a lot of things that we have seen in oil country in a minute. I love you all. Throw down your courtesy like on the way out. It really helps the algorithm. If you do, hit that thumbs up. Waz, I love you. Appreciate you. Brett, you as well, doing a bang-up job. And then intern Tristan, love it. 5-0 Oilers with a Jack Roslovic anytime goal. That would be an unbelievable weekend. If I'm not going to say the word, but back-to-backs, that would be dope. Waz, love you, appreciate you. Folks, we will talk in a couple hours on the post-game show. Good luck out there on the Bet365 Battlegrounds. Over and out with one final word. Nuge!
Nuge! Nuge! Nuge! Nuge! Nuge! Nuge! Nuge! Nuge! Nuge. 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 Nuge.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Every Day, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered, from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.